First contact. Arya stood motionless on the observation deck as Earth came into view, her purple skin shimmering under the artificial lights of the diplomatic vessel. The whispers among my people were wrong, she thought. It looked so alive, so vibrant. Her slender form tensed with anticipation as the ship began its descent through the atmosphere. Ambassador Arya called a voice behind her. Will be docking at the International Spaceport in approximately 20 Earth minutes. The captain's words barely registered as her attention remained fixed on the blue planet growing larger through the viewport. Arya had spent her entire life on Nebulon, a world where conflict had been engineered out of their society centuries ago. The concept of violence was merely academic to her people, studied only in historical texts. Their diplomatic corps had been monitoring Earth for decades, reporting that humans too had finally evolved beyond their warlike tendencies. It was this supposed shared value that had prompted the first official contact between their species. The landing was smoother than expected as Arya emerged from the ship. She was greeted by a small delegation of humans led by a woman with kind eyes and an intelligent face. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador," the woman said with a slight bow. "I'm Dr. Chen, head of the Interspecies Communication Division. I'll be your liaison during your stay with us." Arya returned the gesture. "Thank you for your welcome, Dr. Chen. I look forward to learning more about your peaceful world." Something flickered across Dr. Chen's face, hesitation perhaps, but it vanished so quickly that Arya wondered if she had imagined it. The next few days passed in a blur of diplomatic meetings and cultural exchanges. Arya was impressed by the humans' art, music, and technological achievements. She noted how polite and controlled everyone seemed, reinforcing her belief that humans had indeed transcended their violent history. On her 5th day on Earth, Dr. Chen invited her to observe a cultural demonstration at a local community center. "It will give you insight into how we channel our energies in modern society," she explained. Arya was intrigued when they arrived. The large room was filled with humans of various ages arranged in rows. They moved in synchronized patterns, their bodies flowing from one position to another. "What is this ritual?" Arya asked. "Tai Chi," Dr. Chen replied, "an ancient practice focused on balance, breathing, and inner peace." Arya nodded approvingly. This was exactly what she had expected from an evolved society. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the building. Dr. Chen's communication device buzzed urgently. "Security. Breach in Sector 7, announced a mechanical voice. "All personnel implement emergency protocol 4. The peaceful practitioners transformed before Arya's eyes. Their movements became sharp, purposeful. Several produced concealed weapons from their clothing, while others moved to secure exits and entrances. "Ambassador, stay with me." Dr. Chen's voice had changed, taking on a commanding tone she had never heard before. The doctor guided her toward a reinforced door, moving with unexpected speed and precision. "But what's happening?" Arya asked, confusion and fear mingling in her voice. "Just a security drill," Dr. Chen replied, though her eyes scanned constantly, belying her casual words. "Nothing to worry about." Before they could reach the exit, the lights cut out. Darkness enveloped them for 3 heartbeats before emergency lighting cast everything in a red glow. Through the windows, Arya glimpsed figures moving with military precision across the compound. "Dr. Chen," she whispered, "you told me humans no longer battled." The doctor's eyes met hers, filled with something complex and ancient. "We prefer not to," she said quietly, "but we never forgot how." Hidden warriors. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding about our species, Doctor," Chen said as she guided Arya through a dimly lit corridor. "The next morning, we haven't abandoned our capacity for conflict. We've simply chosen to direct it differently." Arya's antennae twitched with agitation. "The reports I studied suggested Earth had achieved lasting peace similar to Nebulon," she replied. "Was this intentionally misleading?" Dr. Chen paused before a large observation window. "Not misleading, just incomplete." She gestured for Arya to look through the glass. "I wanted you to see this, below." Them stretched a massive training facility. Men and women moved through complex combat scenarios with fluid precision. Their movements reminded Arya of the Tai Chi practitioners, but with lethal intent behind each motion. Who are they? She asked, unable to hide her fascination. Earth's Unified Defense Force, Dr. Chen explained. And that, she pointed, to a figure moving with exceptional grace at the center of the room, is Commander Rena. The commander was striking. Even from a distance, long limbs moved with calculated precision as she demonstrated combat techniques to a circle of attentive students. Her dark skin glistened with exertion as she flowed from one opponent to the next, neutralizing each with minimal force. She's magnificent, Arya whispered before catching herself. Dr. Chen smiled knowingly. Commander Rena is our finest tactician and combat specialist. She's also your security detail for the remainder of your stay. I don't understand. Arya turned to face the doctor. Why would I need security? I thought. Not all humans embrace peaceful coexistence. Dr. Chen's expression grew serious, especially with other species. The incident yesterday wasn't a drill. Someone attempted to breach the facility. While we've contained the situation, we can't risk your safety. Later that afternoon, Arya sat alone in her quarters processing this new information. Her people had been so certain that humans had evolved beyond violence. The diplomatic brief had emphasized cultural exchange, scientific collaboration, and trade negotiations, not security threats and combat specialists. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Ambassador. A voice called, I'm Commander Rena, your security detail. Arya composed herself before opening the door. The commander stood tall in the hallway, her presence commanding even in standard uniform. Her features were sharp yet harmonious, with intelligent eyes that seemed to assess everything. Commander Arya acknowledged with a formal gesture. I didn't expect a warrior to be assigned to diplomatic protection. Something like amusement flickered across Rena's face. With respect, Ambassador. That's precisely why I was assigned. You don't know what a warrior looks like. The commander's directness was startling yet refreshing. Perhaps you could educate me, Arya suggested, stepping aside to invite her in over the next hour. Commander Rena explained Earth's complex relationship with conflict. While global warfare had indeed declined, humans maintained defense forces to protect against both terrestrial and potential extraterrestrial threats. We train not because we wish for conflict, Rena explained as she paced the room with controlled energy, but because we understand its inevitability. Peace requires strength to maintain. On Nebulon, we engineered aggression out of our genetic makeup. Arya admitted, the concept of preparing for conflict seems wasteful when it may never come. Rena stopped pacing. May I speak freely, Ambassador? Arya nodded. That approach seems dangerously naive. The commander said, the universe is vast and often hostile. Preparedness isn't wasteful, it's prudent. Instead of taking offense, Arya found herself intrigued. Would you show me more of your training methods? I'd like to understand. The following morning, Arya observed Commander Rena leading combat exercises from a secure viewing area. The controlled violence was unlike anything in Nebulan culture, yet she couldn't deny its beauty. The discipline, the focus, the perfect economy of movement. It's like a dance, she murmured. The best fighters are also artists. Dr. Chen said, appearing beside her. Commander Rena was a dancer before joining the defense force. That's what makes her exceptional. She sees patterns others miss. As if hearing her name, Rena looked up directly at Arya. Their eyes met across the distance. Something unspoken passed between them. A recognition, a curiosity. She's not what I expected, Arya admitted. Humans rarely are. Dr. Chen replied, we contain multitudes, ambassador warrior and peacemaker scientist and poet destroyer and creator. We've never lost our capacity for battle, she paused, but we've learned to battle for things worth protecting. Arya watched as Commander Rena demonstrated a defensive maneuver. Her movements precise yet graceful. And what does she battle for? She asked quietly. That, Dr. Chen said with a small smile, is something you'll need to discover for yourself. Worlds collide. The key to effective self-defense isn't strength, Commander Rena explained as she circled Arya in the private training room. It's understanding balance and leverage. She moved with purposeful steps, her athletic form fluid yet powerful in the simple training attire. "We don't have a concept of physical combat on Nebulon," Arya admitted, feeling unusually self-conscious as she mimicked the commander's stance. "Our conflicts were resolved through technological means until they were eliminated entirely." Rena's eyebrow arched with interest. "No physical confrontations at all? Not even in your distant past?" "Our historical records indicate primitive physical altercations," Arya replied, "but that was millennia ago." "Fascinating," Rena murmured. "Now, widen your stance slightly." She approached and gently adjusted Arya's position, her hands warm against the ambassador's purple skin. "Your center of gravity works differently than mine. We'll need to adapt these techniques." Arya felt an unexpected flutter at the contact. Something about the commander's proximity triggered responses she hadn't experienced before. The sensation was both disconcerting and oddly pleasant. "These training sessions weren't in my diplomatic itinerary," Arya noted, trying to focus on their conversation rather than the lingering warmth where Rena had touched her. "Is this standard protocol for visiting dignitaries?" Rena's expression grew serious. "No, Ambassador Arya. This is because we received another threat yesterday specifically targeting you." "Me? But why would anyone?" "Not everyone welcomes interspecies diplomacy." Rena's voice held a controlled anger. "Some humans fear what's different. Some resist change at any cost." Before Arya could respond, an emergency alert blared through the facility. The lights shifted to amber, casting strange shadows across Rena's suddenly alert features. "Stay close to me," the commander ordered, all warmth vanishing from her voice as she moved to the communication panel. "Command Center status report. Perimeter breach in Sector 4. Came the terse reply. "Multiple hostiles heading toward the diplomatic wing." Rena grabbed a small device from her belt and pressed it into Arya's hand. "Emergency transponder, don't lose it." She moved to a wall panel that slid open to reveal an arsenal of weapons. She selected a sleek sidearm and what appeared to be a stun baton. "I thought humans had moved beyond such weapons," Arya said, unable to hide her disapproval. "Ideals are wonderful, Ambassador," Rena replied as she checked the weapon with practiced efficiency. "But they won't stop someone trying to harm you. They move swiftly through service corridors." Rena constantly checking ahead and behind them, the commander's entire demeanor had transformed. Her movements were economical, her senses hyper-alert. She had become the warrior Arya had glimpsed during training, but with deadly purpose now. "Where are we going?" Arya whispered. "Secure bunker beneath the facility," Rena replied softly. "Standard evacuation protocol." As they rounded a corner, they encountered two figures in black tactical gear. Rena reacted instantly, pushing Arya behind her and engaging the intruders with shocking speed. She moved like lightning, disarming the first attacker with a precise strike before neutralizing the second with the stun baton. Both fell unconscious before Arya could fully process what had happened. "Are they?" Arya began. "Stunned, not dead," Rena assured her, though her breathing had barely accelerated. "Come on, we need to keep moving." They continued their descent through the facility until they reached a heavily reinforced door. Rena placed her palm against a scanner and the door slid open to reveal a modest but well-equipped safe room. "We'll wait here until security clears the facility," she explained, finally holstering her weapon. "Should be safe now." As the adrenaline subsided, Arya noticed a dark stain spreading across Rena's sleeve. "You're injured," she exclaimed, moving closer. "It's nothing," Rena dismissed. "Just a graze." "Let me see," Arya insisted. Her people might have abandoned warfare, but their medical knowledge was advanced. She gently rolled up Rena's sleeve, revealing a nasty laceration. "This needs treatment." "First aid kit in the cabinet," Rena conceded, sitting on a nearby bench as Arya treated the wound. She studied the commander's arm, strong yet elegant, marked with other scars that told stories of previous battles. "You've been injured many times," she observed. Rena's eyes met hers. "Occupational hazard." "Why do you do it?" Arya asked. "Choose a life of conflict and danger?" Something vulnerable flickered in Rena's usually guarded expression. "Someone has to stand between peace and those who would destroy it," she said quietly. "I'd rather it be me than someone who hasn't been trained for it." Arya finished dressing the wound but didn't remove her hands from Rena's arm. "I've misjudged humans," she admitted. And I've misjudged you. How so? Rena asked, her voice softer than Arya had ever heard it. I thought strength and violence were your defining traits, Arya explained. But it's not about the fighting at all, is it? It's about what you're fighting for. Rena's free hand moved hesitantly to cover Arya's. Now you're beginning to understand. The air between them seemed to charge with something unspoken. Arya became acutely aware of their proximity, of Rena's steady breathing, of the unexpected gentleness in the warrior's eyes. The moment was interrupted by the communication panel. Commander Rena, Dr. Chen's voice reported, Facility secured, attackers in custody. You can bring the ambassador back now. Rena acknowledged the message, but her eyes remained locked with Arya's. Ready to return to the diplomatic world, Ambassador? Arya smiled, a new understanding dawning between them. I think I prefer the company of warriors. Battle of Hearts. Combat is as much about intuition as technique, Commander Rena explained, circling Arya in the private training room they now use daily. Your body must react before your mind has time to process. 3 weeks had passed. Since the attack, the diplomatic mission continued officially, but Arya found herself increasingly drawn to these training sessions with Rena. Their time together had evolved from formal security protocol to something more personal. Like this? Arya attempted the defensive move Rena had demonstrated, her purple form moving with increasing confidence. Better. Rena nodded approvingly. Your natural agility gives you advantages. Your reflexes are faster than mine. Yet you anticipate my movements every time, Arya noted with frustration. How? Rena stepped closer. Because I'm reading more than just your body. Her voice dropped lower. I'm reading your intentions, your emotions. Their proximity sent a now familiar warmth through Arya's body. And what am I feeling now? She asked. Voice barely above a whisper, Rena's eyes darkened. Curiosity, fear, attraction. Her hand reached up, hesitating just shy of touching Arya's face. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're not wrong, Arya admitted. The tension between them had been building for days, perhaps since their first meeting. This isn't in any diplomatic handbook. A rare smile touched Rena's lips. I never much cared for rulebooks. When their lips finally met, Arya understood why humans wrote poetry about kissing. Rena's touch was both gentle and commanding, tender yet passionate. It awakened sensations Arya hadn't known her body could experience. Later, lying together in Rena's quarters, Arya traced the scars on the commander's skin. Each one tells a story, she murmured. This one. Rena guided Arya's, fingers to a mark on her shoulder, was from my first real combat mission protecting refugees on the lunar colonies. You fight to protect, Arya observed, not for conquest or glory. The best warriors do, Rena replied, pulling her closer. We battle so others don't have to. We carry the burden of violence so peace has room to grow. Arya thought of her peaceful homeworld. My people would never understand. Do you? Rena asked, vulnerability evident in her question. I'm beginning to, Arya whispered against her skin, and it terrifies me how much I admire your strength. Their peaceful moment was shattered by an urgent alert. Rena was instantly alert. Reaching for her communicator. Commander Rena, orbital security breach, came the terse response. Unknown vessels. Hostile intent confirmed. They're targeting the diplomatic compound. Rena was already moving, pulling on her tactical gear. Stay here, she ordered. No. Arya rose, determination hardening her features. My people need to know what's happening. I'm coming with you. This isn't a training exercise, Rena warned. This is real combat. Arya met her gaze steadily. Then it's time I learned what humans fight for. Beyond the stars. The diplomatic compound was in chaos when they arrived. Evacuation protocols had been activated, as reports confirmed the orbital attackers were targeting all alien representatives. They're using our own defense satellites against us, Dr. Chen explained grimly. We've lost communication with orbital command. Who's behind this? Arya demanded. Purist faction. Rena replied. Coordinating defense teams, Earth First extremists. They've been threatening interspecies cooperation for years. A massive explosion rocked the building. Commander Rena shielded Arya instinctively. "We need to get all ambassadors to the emergency shuttles," she ordered. "Dr. Chen, coordinate evacuation area, stay with me." As they moved through the compound, Arya witnessed the full measure of human strength. Rena's team moved with disciplined precision, evacuating diplomats and neutralizing threats teams of medics treated, the injured without discrimination between species. When a section of ceiling collapsed, trapping several Centaurian delegates, Arya watched Rena and her soldiers risk their lives to free them despite the spreading flames. This is what humans truly are. Arya realized, not just warriors, but protectors. The evacuation was nearly complete. When they were cut off from the final shuttle bay by armed attackers, Rena pushed Arya behind cover as weapons fire erupted around them. "There's an auxiliary control room through there." Rena pointed to a corridor. "If we can reach it, we can override the satellite targeting systems." "That's suicide," Dr. Chen protested through the communicator. "The corridor is exposed, you'll never make it." Rena's eyes met Arya's. "We have to try," she said simply. "I'll create a diversion." Arya decided, "My species can manipulate electromagnetic fields. I can disrupt their targeting systems temporarily." "Arya, no." Rena grabbed her arm. "You don't understand combat." "But I understand sacrifice." Arya replied, "You taught me that." Their final kiss was brief but contained everything they couldn't say. Then Arya stepped into the open, drawing the attackers' attention, while Rena slipped toward the control room. Arya focused her natural abilities, creating electromagnetic disturbances that confused the attackers' weapon systems. She moved as Rena had taught her, using the environment for cover, staying unpredictable. When a stray shot grazed her shoulder, she barely felt it. Her mind was focused on one thought, giving Rena enough time. After what seemed like eternity, the facility's lights flickered. The weapons targeting the compound from orbit suddenly veered away from the diplomatic zone. A cheer went up from the defense forces as they regained the advantage. Arya found Rena in the control room, wounded but triumphant. "You did it," she breathed. "We did it," Rena corrected, pulling her close despite her injuries. "You fought like a warrior." 3 months later, Arya stood before the Nebulan High Council. "Humans are not what we believed," she reported. "They have not abandoned conflict, they've transformed it. Their capacity for violence exists alongside their capacity for love. Both are powerful, both are necessary." The council murmured with disapproval. "And your recommendation, Ambassador?" "Full diplomatic relations," Arya stated firmly. "And cultural exchange programs. We have much to learn from each other." She thought of Commander Rena, waiting for her return. "They fight because they love deeply. They protect what matters. They understand a truth we've forgotten. Peace isn't the absence of struggle, it's worth fighting for." As she concluded her report, Arya touched the communication device at her wrist. A message from Earth appeared. "When are you coming home?" Home. She smiled at the concept. Earth had become just that, a second home. A place where she had discovered strength she never knew she possessed and love she never expected to find across the stars. A warrior waited, and Arya knew exactly what she was fighting for now.